presentation. It's really nice. I mean, to me, I want to say it's my honor to be here. And basically, I'm not stationed here. I came here at Bangor maybe in 1 year less than 10 times. Okay, this is one of the times that I okay. Well, the topic is FR-Mek, okay, financial rating system for Mekong Region, and for those of you who don't know Mekong River Basin, this is what we have. We have the whole, the green shade here is Mekong Region. We have, upper region here. So this is the narrowest part of Mekong Region. So this is upper part and this is lower part. What I'm interested in here is I consider the regions in lower Mekong. So in upper Mekong is basically Tibetan Plateau, okay, over China. So the synonyms is upper Southeast Asia, upper ASEAN countries, lower Mekong River region. They are pretty much similar on TCL MP. And here is a forest fire. Okay, in Thailand, forest fire is a really big issue. It is serious, particularly, during dry season. And this is in Cambodia, Cardamom Mountain. And I went there, in April this year, and happened to come across, the fires, on both sides, and never lived there. So when we talk about fire, it's very important in terms of impact. As you can see, okay, this is one of the biggest episode Thailand ever experienced. Fires cause basically cause a lot of damages and can in terms of human life and properties, and also induce smoke gas. And here is Chiang Mai in 2009, and this is in late afternoon, as you can see, where we cannot see the bright sun. We can see only orange sun here. And this is in Manomaiphiboon University. This is during 2 p.m. We cannot see clearly. But when we compare to summer clear sky, summer day, this is much better in terms of visibility. So what is fire danger? Basically, I'm talking about fire and fire environment. Okay. By definition, it is a degree of danger of fire when igniting can be. Also, sometimes we can take a look at how easy a fire can be ignited. And the fire that we are paying attention here is basically forest fires. Associated factors is eco-based fuels, like since in Thailand we are particularly in the north and also in other countries in the region. So we have a dry forest during the season. And weather is also important, particularly moisture, precipitation that will tell us how much soil moisture accumulated underground. Why we need to identify fire danger? Because number one is to support firefighting, to allocate limited resources in terms of humans and tools, and also strategies to put out fires. And public warning, and it can be used to determine how we do tapping for prescribed burning. Prescribed burning is the burning that basically human intend to do. Okay, in order to reduce the amount of fuels, so that when it comes to forest fire season, so the fuels is minimized, and then if we have forest fire, it's not going to be such a big problem. And then the information of fire danger can be integrated into other databases. So modern information technology for forest fire management, number one is, I'm talking about modern IT, is a satellite fire hotspots. And the second to that is a fire danger rating system. This is the standard used around the world, fire danger rating system. So let me get back to a simple hypothesis that do we have fires? The answer is yes, plenty of them over the region. As you can see, this is red dots that pretty much fires detected by satellites. And if we do a simple average of satellite fire hotspot over dry season, so in this picture it's basically 10-year average. We can see that Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand basically got a lot of fires during dry season. So this is a satellite information, satellite that satellites and sensors that can detect fires and use worldwide. So here is NASA, Terra satellite, NASA, Alpha satellite, and on board of them they have a multi-sensor. And this is a new generation. We have Xiaomi NPP satellite, and on board of this we have a series of sensors. One of them is VIAS, which can detect fire hotspot at very high resolution. So when we're talking about fire danger rating system, this is a pioneering work, pretty much 30 years ago, and done by Mr. Philip Up. So he is a well-known, internationally well-known forest fire expert in the region, and particularly in Thailand. So here, but this study is highly detailed, but only limited to just some local areas. In this case, is National Park, Don Sutet and Booth. And this is the sign. When we do calculation and do prediction, so we can turn the arrow to the zone that we want to identify the degree of fire danger. And here we have low, moderate, high, and extreme. These are standard using used worldwide. So this is 30 years ago, focusing on very well-known national park, and this record is also highly cited. And what is FR-Mek? Basically, this work is only day-to-day basis routine practice, and use only some local areas, and it's pretty much not gain attention over the last 10 or 20 years due to kind of importance of FDR. The FDRS has been quite ignored, and FR-Mek is trying to revamp the importance to the public and also to the firefighting agencies. So we're looking at this, and we develop this. FR-Mek, it is a forecasting system. So focusing on only two important fire danger indices. One is FMC. It tells us how easy fires are ignited. And FMUI, it is when ignited, how easy to put them out. Okay, these basically, these two basic indices are standard when it comes to fire suppression and control. So we try to predict 2 days and 5 days ahead of time, and then cover the whole region, which is Upper ASEAN. And this system also in estimate at very high resolution. There is 3 kilometer and 9 kilometer. And the system has been calibrated for ecosystem the fires, in the region. And we also do intensive evaluation. So far, it performs, at an acceptable to good prediction level. So in FR-Mek, basically, it consists of two subsystems. One we call calibrator, and the other one we call forecaster. Given time and it's kind of technical, so I'm going to say this only accurately. So basically, we have processor. When we want to calibrate, when they say calibrate, it means that calibrate the conditions of the fire weather or the weather conditions that we can link to the degree of fire dangers. In order to do calibration, we have to obtain various kind of data, input data, and then we use statistical analysis and also many things in there. And at the end, we get calibrated thresholds. And threshold we can say, well, this is a low condition, high condition, or extreme conditions, things like that. So we use satellite data and also use fire data statistic, from governmental surveys. And here this is the main one, forecaster. I mean, every day the DNP, the government basically run this for almost 2 years already, and run it every day. I would say not 2 years, one year and 8 months, and every day they run, and then they got to go through the same process. Basically, getting the data from various places, and then get into the processor, and at the end broadcast, to the web, and then transfer information to firefighting units across the country, and also to Laos and Cambodia. So at the heart of the system, in terms of processor, in both calibrator and forecaster, we use Canadian FBIS framework. Basically, it's pretty much to calculate soil moisture in field, because it has been known that the behavior of fires is highly dependent on soil moisture and also field moisture. So as you can see, we use temperature, relative humidity, speed, and rain. At most of them we fire at noon time, local time, and then go into many steps. And at the end, we have fire field moisture cause and fire weather index. This index basically is proxy for how easy fuels can be ignited, and fire weather index is a proxy for what? For when it is ignited, fire is going to spread or intense or not. So this is web portal. We've been able to update it, the web portal from time to time. The web portal has been hosted by the government at a website address here. DNP is a Department of Natural Parks, Wildlife, and Conservation. So this is the map on Google Earth. So when we're talking about timeline, it's pretty much 6 years in the process. And I think this is something that I want to describe most, not as opposed to technical information. In the middle of 2010, a number of DNP DNP officers coming to my office and discuss with because they know that I'm doing modeling for earth science, and they came and they discussed, and they said that they're interested into revamping or improving interest for the public and also for the governmental agency associated with forest fires to have better and more comprehensive FDI system. So we discussed, as well as I remember the whole afternoon, but at the end, with majority we agree not to proceed with anything. The reason is I think that we don't have maturity enough, okay, to handle this. To handle the complexity of the task. And second is we don't have any fundings. And the third is we're afraid that we don't have a strong commitment together. So and then we have empty hand after a couple of hours of meeting, and then but we still keep in touch. Okay, pretty much 3 years passed by. We keep in touch, from time to time. We met each other, in conferences or workshops. Okay, at least once or twice a year. But we also complain about we could not make it possible to in terms of development. And then in late 2013, a number of scientists and some of them from NASA contact DNP people, and DNP people relay the message to me since it is associated with what we discussed 3 years ago. So and then the head of the project is a NASA scientist, and then they said that NASA is interested to develop global file reader system. So and then very interested in the region. So I am one officer over there who is my friend, my long-term friend, get involved in the project, and the project called GFWE. So we work for them in kind, without any funding, but do it in kind. Okay, to most of the work is to do calculation and validate their result using local data. And then 6 or 7 months we've been able to finish the work. And then working with them closely, even though remotely mostly. So we think that in terms of knowledge and expertise that they transfer to us is quite mature enough for us to get back to what we discussed 3 years ago. So we developed prototype. Is when I say prototype, is mean calibrator and forecaster. Prototype, it took us around 7 or 8 months, okay, to finish the prototype. And then now it is early 2015, and then the DNP made an appointment with us to discuss about our developed prototype. And they said, okay, it's okay, but they still don't have the proof of concept enough to go ahead with adopting the system. So they said, but anyway, they set up the website, okay, and then allow us to run the forecast experimental. And during this time, experimental done by me, okay, because given that to handle complex computation is and also software and hardware is a little bit hard for the team. And then so it's done pretty much at Manomaiphiboon. And then in the middle of 2015, the government, one of governmental agency, asked us to present this to the Prime Minister, and then we one of our team, one of the members went back, and then they set up the rules, and we show our experimental forecast to Prime Minister and many ministers under his position. And then late 2015, we we developed a proposal to NRCT, and then we got the funding for 1 million baht to make it a full system, to change from prototype to full system. And during this time, we'll be continue continue to develop continuously. And then from prototype we have full system, and then plenty of training, workshop, and then plenty of dialogue. And most important is proof of concept. And then in November 2015, the DNP announced, issue a series of letters officially to adopt our system, okay, for the operation. And then and given that by then they have some DNP officer that can handle the system by themselves without me to run every day, okay, because we have continuous training and that. And we got funding from NRCT, which helps a lot, because without funding we cannot do much. And then from November 2015, the system operated officially, and then in March 2016, Canadian Forest Services contacted us they asked us to provide our calibrated threshold to them, because they developed a global system. They would like to have our threshold for Mekong Region, and then we provide that. And then in July 2016, which is this year, the government of Laos and Cambodia wrote a letter to us, to the team, to ask us to provide customized products for endangered maps and that. And this is pretty much September or what, where we are now is September. So this is the product that I and a friend of mine, who is my team, okay, been part of this work. We developed global file with the database. We have short name called GF-Mek, okay, and this database has been published and also posted in one of the NASA website. And then when we talk about utilization, okay, I want to summary quickly. So Department of Natural Parks, Wildlife and Conservation, okay, officially forecasting and adopt the system formally in late 2015. And then the information basically to support the activity, pretty much people at flight station, over 240 stations nationwide, and also for general public. And Laos request our customized products. Cambodia request customized product, and Canadian Forest Services basically asks us to provide our thresholds. So this is a series of letters that the government issued by the DNP, and they issue to various divisions and also some ministries associated with forest fires, forest fire management. So this is pretty much every day. What you see here are basically firefighters. Okay, every day they check the data, okay, from the website, and then their job is what 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock they check the website, and then they got to what? They got to set up this. This is the sign, okay, and then they got to rotate the arrow to what we specified from the website. So this is the letter of the request from Laos and Cambodia, basically from forest fire fighting divisions. And this is the letter from Canada. So they basically develop global fire warning system, but at moderate or cost resolution, and then it's only when the condition but cannot tell whether or not fire danger is bad or not bad or extreme. So with our calibrated thresholds, they'll be able to mark the colors properly in lower Mekong region. So this is a little bit of proof of concept. So this is yesterday, yesterday or 2 days ago. This is at Khun Teng. So basically, we focus on, since the beginning, we don't pay attention to what certified Thailand, because for forest fires normally taking place during dry season, and then, but since in a certain area, certain region, we also have many areas that we designate as peatland or swampland, and this basically is opposite in terms of timing. Forest fires, in swamplands, basically, taking place, during rainy season, which is, which is the same as peat fires, in Indonesia and Borneo and Sumatra or Malaysia. So this is pretty much in the afternoon, 2 days ago, and then we have forest fire over this area, and this is the proof of concept. The past here is pretty much, this is red color that we've been able to predict, and this is this is newspaper on 28, but the picture is the day before that, which is 27. So we've been able to predict it accurately, about these isolated, what we predict is mostly fire danger or in terms of probability. So we see that this area basically is danger, and then we have this, which is really confirm our concept. So a number of people or agencies who support this, the NP, Kenwood, Perdo, JGSEE, PAI, Bedo, NRCT, and GFWA. Well, thank you. And I have various versions of thank you to other countries, for other countries. Khop Chai, Cảm ơn. Thank you, Ohun, and the other one is Myanmar. I forgot the number. Okay. And here are pretty much the 4 people. 6 years ago, we have this is the driver, the key driver, Dr. Vilashai, the key driver of he is pusher to modernize FR-Mek in Thailand, and then this is the only remaining member of the pioneer work 30 years ago. He is there. Right, he is 25 years ago. And this is the forecaster currently, and this is myself. That will be all. And this is what I would like to share with you. Thank you very much.